Well, the World Cup gave South Africa a greater sense of national pride, but can the same happen here in the United States, where, needless to say, soccer does not get as much attention, at least outside of the World Cup? Sunil Gulati is the president of the U.S. Soccer Federation and the U.S. Bid Committee chairman, and he joins us now. U.S. Bid Committee chairman, so trying to bring the World Cup here.
We are. We're trying to bring the World Cup back to the United States in 2018, or more likely, 2022. So it's a long way off, but we're working pretty hard at it.
You worked years out for something like that. FIFA will announce the 2018 and 22 bid winners in December. What's the process like, being a bid nation for this?
Well, there's two parts of the process, I think, that are important. One is the technical preparations. We submitted a couple £1,000 of paperwork, government guarantees, stadium guarantees, all sorts of things. And then the other part of it is to try to convince a majority of 24 executive committee members of FIFA that we're the right place to come.
You're an economics professor. Does it make sense economically? Would the U.S. benefit economically in the end?
The U.S. would benefit economically, but I think even more importantly for FIFA, which has to make the decision, FIFA would benefit. This would be a game changer, especially in the host cities, 9, 10, 11 of those, and maybe 500 million on average per city. We're 320 million relatively affluent consumers. And if the U.S. ever engages in the way that England or Germany does as a percentage of the population, it'd be a game changer for TV rights, for commercial partners. I think FIFA knows that going in.
The last World Cup in the U.S., 1994. How has soccer and its perception in this country changed since then?
We've got a men's professional league. We've got a women's professional league. We were the #1 fans at the World Cup outside of South Africa itself, the most ticket buyers, #1 rights payment in the world. And that's on top of the story we've told for a long time, which is the millions of kids that play. So '94 really ignited us, and we think hosting another World Cup here in the United States would bring us fully into the world's game.
What about the infrastructure costs? I mean, look, we have a lot of stadiums that could work. A football stadium could work for a soccer stadium in theory, right? So we've got a lot of stadiums across the country, but would we need a lot of additional infrastructure built?
In a word, no. We don't need any telecommunication centers. We don't need any roads. We don't need any stadiums built. Thankfully, the NFL has built some world-class stadiums. They build a few of them every few years, it seems. So we've got the most modern and up-to-date stadiums in the world, and we wouldn't need additional infrastructure spending. And I think we're probably the only country in the world that can make that statement.
What we saw throughout this World Cup was the use of technology in refereeing matches and people calling for more and more use of that. It seems like FIFA's been opposed to that. Would we see that, do you think?
There were a number of very controversial refereeing decisions, and as it turns out, 1 billion people saw a goal, but one didn't. And the one that didn't is the only one that matters, the referee. That's hard. Technology's gotten a lot better. It's an organization that moves slowly, very conservatively, but it's not 5 or 6 countries that play. There's 210 countries. And so I think you will see some changes, whether it's technology or additional referees, to try to bring a few more eyes on the field.
You spent 6 weeks in South Africa for this World Cup. You're just back to the U.S. How has that experience changed your outlook leading the bid committee to bring the games here to the U.S.?
You know, I think we learned some things. We talked to a number of people that are eventual decision makers for where the next World Cup goes. South Africa put on a terrific World Cup. A lot of people had doubts. They put on something that I think the country and the world won't forget, and they talk about changing the brand of South Africa. They did that.
You were there for 6 weeks, so I'm sure you heard plenty of them.
I can barely hear you now, actually, because
you just got back this morning. What would the U.S. have?
Well, listen, we've got lots of things that are part of our culture. It wouldn't be vuvuzelas. It's a long time between now and 18 or 22. I'm sure we'll have some things that are very much American.
Equally as annoying. Soccer has really caught on in this country, both women's soccer and men's soccer. Will we ever be able to compare it to the great American pastime of baseball or basketball or American football?
I think competitively our women are at the top of the rankings. Our men are getting a lot better. The question is, will it ever become part of the American fabric like American football is? I don't think it has to replace football or baseball. I don't think that will happen. But it's a big country. We can certainly be additive, not replacing either of those. That's not the goal, certainly.
Do we need big soccer stars here in the U.S. to really engage the masses?
I think we probably do, but I think some of those have to be American stars, developed, bred here, and as well as some international stars. The big stars are really abroad, and some of them are coming.
All right, and we'll find out in December if the U.S. has won the bid for 2018 or 2022.
Absolutely.
We'll see. Good luck. Good luck to all of us. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.